Hello, I am going to be doing a walkthrough of Secret of the Old Clock. So this game, I really like this game. Some people don't. This was the third Nancy Drew game I ever played, and I really like it. I like that it's set in the 30s and it's fun. I don't know, I think the plot is good, the characters are good. So I'm really excited to do this one.
Welcome to my latest case, The Secret of the Old...
The year, 1930. The place, the road to Titusville, where we find Nancy Drew behind the wheel of her blue roadster, pondering this question. Why did Emily Crandall, a girl whom Nancy knows only through their mutual friend Helen Corning, ask Nancy to drive all the way out to the Lilac Inn to see her? Does it have something to do with the fact that Emily's mother died barely a month earlier, leaving Emily to run the restaurant with only her guardian to help her? And more important, why, when she called, did Emily sound so desperate? The spunky teenager turns off the main road, blissfully unaware that Emily isn't all that awaits her at the end of the driveway. No, Nancy Drew is about to get her first taste of the mystery, intrigue, and adventure that are to become her destiny.
So this game is supposed to be like the first Nancy Drew book by Carolyn Keene, and which, you know, set in the 30s, and it's called Secret of the Old Clock. So it's supposed to be her first mystery, even though it's not, you know, obviously it's not the first mystery game in this series. Nancy acts like she's never really solved a mystery before, so it's kind of fun.
Well, hello. I'll bet my bloomers you're Nancy Drew.
That's right. Are you Emily's guardian?
You got it. I'm Jane Willoughby. I'm Emily's guardian, but only for the next 3 months until she turns 18. Then she's on her own.
It smells like someone's been baking pies.
Pies are the Lilac Inn specialty. We get orders from all over. Oh, that reminds me, your father called. You're supposed to call him. You can use the coin phone on the porch. Emily didn't say anything about you coming until just this morning.
Is it okay that I'm here?
Don't get me wrong, she can invite anybody here she wants. It's just that she's gotten so darn forgetful lately.
Maybe she's just, you know, still thinking about her mom.
She misses her mom, that's for sure. So do I. Gloria and me, we were best friends, you know? The two of us ran this swell little dress shop over in Capital City. But then she got hitched and I didn't. And the next thing I know, she's writing me saying it would sure take a load off her mind if I could take care of her little girl should something ever happen to her.
Emily's father...
died in the war. Cantigny, I think. Anyway, I couldn't say no. I mean, what are best friends for? I just wish I knew how to help Emily.
You make it sound like she's in some kind of trouble.
She's been acting so... Look, go talk to her. She probably just needs to spend some time with a bearcat like you instead of some dumb Dora like me. Go on up, she's in her room. Just make like a Boy Scout and be prepared.
This is Emily's room, and I'll explore it later. First, we'll talk to
Nancy,
Emily.
hi. Welcome to the Lilac Inn. Oh, and before I forget, thank you for that nice note you sent me when Mom died. It meant a lot to me.
Well, I lost my mom too, years ago. I kind of know how you feel.
You and I may not be best friends or anything, but you're still one of the nicest people I know.
Well, thank you.
That's why I'm hoping you'll do me a favor, a big favor. You and your dad?
My dad?
Helen says he's a lawyer.
Shh! What's wrong?
I thought I heard something. Your father has a safe, right?
You need to put something in a safe?
See this jewelry? I'd like you to take it home with you and put it in your father's safe.
It's beautiful.
It was my mother's. The few times I saw her wear it, she looked just like a movie star. I was hiding it here in my room, but all things considered, I'd feel a lot better if you would just take it home and have your father lock it up in his safe.
What do you mean, all things considered?
Strange things have been going on around here. That's all I can say. I know it sounds loony, and Jane probably told you that I've been acting loony, but please do this for me. What was that?
Emily, come downstairs, quick! The kitchen's on fire!
Come on, we better get out of here.
This is horrible, just horrible. The fire chief says the stove was completely destroyed and there's smoke damage everywhere. The inn will have to shut down for months, maybe even for good.
Does he know what caused the explosion?
It looked to him like one of the burners on the stove had been left on. The flame either went out or was never lit, but anyway, something made a spark, and boom. He said insurance companies are very reluctant to pay out when things look hinky, and that's when times are good.
Who was in the kitchen this morning?
Emily was the last person to use the stove. Like I said, she's been real forgetful lately. I think she's pretty upset. But it's not her fault. What with her mom passing away barely a month ago, and me showing up, this total stranger who doesn't know the first thing about kids or running a restaurant, and her trying to do everything all by herself. It's just too much, that's all. Who wouldn't go a little off their nut? I better get that. The line to the regular phone got burned up in the fire, so now the only phone we got is the coin phone on the porch. Excuse me.
Emily?
My mother's jewelry! It's gone! Someone must have stolen it while we were all downstairs. I knew something like this was going to happen. I just knew it.
You mean this sort of thing has happened before?
Yes. No. I'd rather not say, but I will say this. I did not leave the stove on. That fire was not my fault. Oh, what am I going to do? Without that jewelry, I don't have a prayer of paying for a new stove, and without a stove, I'll have to sell the inn, and if I lose the inn... I wish Mom were still here. I wish Josiah Crowley had left us the money like he always said he was going to. That's what I wish.
Who's Josiah Crowley?
He was this old man that lived next door. He died last year. He spent most of his time here at the inn, and he led my mom and me to believe that he'd left a lot of money for us in his will. He gave us a clock, and afterwards, he'd always point to it and get this little twinkle in his eye and say, "Time will tell." But when they finally found his will, he didn't leave us a penny.
Was there a problem finding his will?
It didn't turn up for months. Then finally someone found it in a drawer in Josiah's house. Josiah was kind of a screwball. One time he showed up at my birthday party dressed as my great-aunt Harriet. I didn't know it was really him until 2 days later. Anyway, he had all these weird hobbies, and he always thought it would be really keen to read minds. Josiah invited Richard Topham to move in so Topham could help him develop his paranormal powers right there in his house. Josiah was a sweet old man, and I do miss him. And he was free to give his money to whomever he wanted. But to get our hopes up like that, and then leave us nothing, it just wasn't like him.
Where is Richard Topham now?
He still lives in Josiah's house, which is right down the path out back. His house and the inn were built at the same time by two brothers during the Civil War.
Was your mother's jewelry insured?
Gosh, I forgot about that. I don't know. Jim Archer, I bet he'd know. He's our banker. I guess I should go talk to him.
Not one of your favorite people, huh?
Oh no, Mr. Archer's very nice. I mean, for a stuffy old banker. I'm just so bad at business things. And Jane, my guardian, she tries hard, but she's no good at it either. Maybe you could go talk to him. Please? It would be such a big help.
Sure.
He runs the Main Street Bank. You can't miss it. I'll call him and tell him you're coming.
How many people knew you kept your mother's jewelry in here?
No one. Well, Jane, my guardian, she knew, but I didn't tell anyone else.
I'll be back in a little bit.
Don't forget to call your father.
Okay, so we just got bombarded with a lot of information. That is one thing about this game. The beginning is kind of overwhelming, because you find out, Emily's been acting strange. There's weird things going on in this house, in the inn. Then the stove explodes. The jewelry goes missing. You find about Josiah Crowley's will. Gosh, I can't say his name. You find out about his will and the money he promised them. Now we have to go talk to the banker. So it's just like a lot of stuff kind of back to back. But first let's explore. This is playing Brigitte's song from Curse of Blackmore Manor, the last game. So a little callback there. There's a book. Gloria read this, and pretty soon this fella... Oh, sorry. Gloria, read this, and pretty soon this fella will be your favorite poet too. Your pal, Josiah. Okay, some kind of story. There's a sewing machine.
Is this your sewing machine?
Actually, that belonged to my mom. She and Jane used to be dressmakers. Mom was going to teach me how to use it, but she never got the chance.
And there's a drawer here that we can't open yet, but we will later on. There's nothing else upstairs besides Emily's bedroom to look at. And then this is their little sitting room with a puzzle. So the point of this puzzle is to get the bird all the way over here. And it's a classic Nancy Drew puzzle. Okay. Oh. Oh, I know what to do. Oh, wait. This. Okay. So, I think I was on the right track when I did this. Oh, here we go.
Wonder what this mirror's doing in here.
We found a mirror in the clock puzzle. There's a article about hobo sign language. So in the 30s was the time of homeless people because of the Great Depression. So anyway, hobos had this little language. They used sign language. And that will come into play in a puzzle later on in the game. This article is about a horse who they were able to teach him how to like do tricks by showing him, I think it was like showing him certain signs and then he would do something. Knew the answer to the problem that had been posed. It's so that article is kind of a hint for another puzzle later on in the game. I think that's all that's in here besides the game here. Bard Bounce, which costs like a nickel, I think. This is another classic Nancy Drew puzzle. This is in a lot of games. Trying to decide where to start. I feel like I should start with green. Okay, Also need to figure out which one I should do last because... Also, I will say this game is probably harder in Senior Detective than Junior Detective. Okay, we'll try this way. So... I feel like red should be last. Because I can easily... Well, I guess green would be last in that case. Okay, so let's... Okay. Let's get blue next. And then red. And don't really get anything, just the game calls you Keen. So that's
So,
nice.
is Emily all right?
Someone stole her mother's jewelry.
What?
Did you happen to see anyone go upstairs during all the commotion that the fire caused?
No. You mean someone stole it while everybody was rushing around trying to put out the fire? Hypers! If you can't trust a fireman, who can you trust?
Emily said you were the only one who knew she had that jewelry.
When Gloria was alive, she could have told people about it, or people may have seen her wearing it. And when she died, they knew the jewelry had to be around here somewhere, right?
Does anyone in particular come to mind?
Sorry. It's been hard enough getting to know Emily, let alone anyone else in this backwater burg. Well, guess better go call the sheriff.
Is that your car I saw when I drove up the driveway?
My old rust bucket's parked out back where nobody'll see it. Be nice to buy something decent, but last time I checked, my last name was Willoughby, not Rockefeller.
Where did that barred bounce game that's in the parlor come from? Do you know?
Emily says Josiah Crowley brought it in one day and just left it. Said it was so guests, as in him, would have something to do while they waited for a table.
Well, I'll talk to you later.
Alrighty-dighty.
Alrighty-dighty. Okay, let's call, Nancy's
Drop a nickel into the slot,
dad.
please. There we go. Now, how may I be of service?
I'd like to talk to Carson Drew. His number is KL57187.
Hang on a minute.
This is the first game with Carson Drew
Carson
as a
Drew
phone
speaking.
character.
Hi, Dad.
Well, I see you got to Titusville okay.
The car ran like a top.
It ought to. That's a fine car. You treat it well, it'll treat you well.
I was told that you wanted me to call.
I need to get some documents from a colleague over there. I thought since you were in the area, you could pick them up, save him paying postage.
Sure. What's the address?
He said he'd just leave them for you at the telegraph office. Just drive into town and look for Tubby Telegrams. He said you can't miss it.
Will do.
These papers are extremely important, Nancy.
I will pick them up, Dad.
Good. Remember, watch your gas gauge and get gas when you're low so you don't run out. And try to avoid potholes. The more you hit, the likely it is you'll wind up with a flat.
Yes, Dad.
And if you do get a flat, take it off and put on your spare, and then head straight to a gas station and get it fixed.
Yes, Dad.
All right, lecture over. Have you found out why Miss Crandall asked you to visit?
She wanted me to have you lock her mother's jewelry up in your safe. Only someone stole it before I could take it with me.
Stole it? Good gosh.
That was right after the stove in the kitchen exploded.
The stove exploded? Sounds to me like you'd be well advised to cut your visit there short.
No, I want to find out what's going on. I have to find out what's going on.
You have to?
Well, yeah, you know. Emily just lost her mom, and she's worried about losing the inn, and her guardian's all wet when it comes to helping out, and...
And the truth is, you are so curious that you feel like you'll absolutely burst if you don't find out why all these weird things have been happening, right?
Yes.
Don't worry, I know the feeling. You're a chip off the old block, I'm afraid. Well, as long as you're like me in one other way, you should be fine.
What way is that? Smart?
Careful.
If somebody says they're going to leave you something in their will and then doesn't, is there anything you can do about it?
Not a thing. Whatever's in writing is the only thing that counts, unless, of course, the will was tampered with or forged, and you can prove it. If not, you're out of luck. Why do you ask?
Emily's neighbor, Josiah Crowley, told her and her mom that they were going to inherit part of his estate. But when he died, his will left everything to this ESP expert named Richard Topham.
That's too bad, but this Crowley fellow was free to leave whatever he wanted to whomever he wanted, I'm afraid. People do change their minds, you know.
I met Emily's guardian, Jane. What does a guardian do, anyway?
A guardian is pretty much a surrogate parent. Jane is legally responsible for Emily's physical and financial well-being.
Jane doesn't strike me as being the parental type. In fact, I get the impression she's in way over her head.
Fortunately for her, it's not forever. Most guardianships end when the ward turns 18. And then both Jane and Emily will be free to do whatever they please.
If Emily sells the inn, will Jane get part of the profits?
If she's Emily's guardian at the time of the sale, yes. Are you suggesting that Jane's primary motivation is greed? Good grief, where did you get such a suspicious mind?
I think it was from the person who has always told me that the best way to solve a problem is to look at all the possibilities. Dad.
I did say that, didn't I?
Goodbye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
So, Carson is not... He's not in many of the other games. He's definitely a phone character in The Silent Spy, but he's voiced by a different voice actor. So
Drop a nickel into the slot, please.
Okay, let's call
There you go.
Bess.
Now, how may I be of service?
Hi, could you please connect me with Bess Marvin at KL54468?
Just a second.
Hello?
Hi, Bess, it's Nancy.
George, get over here. It's Nancy Drew. So how's the Lilac Inn?
A little strange.
Why? Because of Emily?
Well, yes.
Hi, Nancy.
Is that you, George?
Ouch, that's my foot.
Well, move over.
But I can't hear. You move over.
Then
I can't hear. Look, just hold the phone like this, okay? There. Can you hear us?
I can hear you fine.
It would be so nice to have two phones in this house.
We don't even have a telephone at our house. So quit griping. So Nancy, what's the scoop?
Well, I talked to Emily Crandall.
Bess was telling me that you don't really know her that well.
Glitch.
Bess and I just know her through Helen Corning.
The last time I saw her was at Helen's 15th birthday party.
I saw her last year at Helen's recital.
Hello? Is someone on the line? Hello?
We're on the line, Mrs. Farthingham.
Well, get off. I need to make a call.
But we just got on.
Then it should be no problem for you to get off.
Just give us one more minute, Mrs. Farthingham, please.
Oh, all right. You have 1 more minute.
Go on, Nancy. What were you saying?
Just that I...
Shh. Wait a minute. Mrs. Farthingham, would you mind hanging up? All clear. Oh, how I wish we didn't have to share a phone line with her.
Just be grateful you have a phone, Bess.
Some jewels were stolen out of Emily's room this morning at the same time that a fire destroyed the stove in the kitchen.
Destroyed the stove? You mean they can't bake any more cherry pies?
Not for a while. Emily's worried that she may have to sell the inn.
Is that bad? I mean, she's only 17.
I think she'd like to hang on to it because her mom would have wanted her to.
I sure wouldn't want to be saddled with something like that.
Even if it meant having all the cherry pie you could eat?
I hadn't thought of it that way.
Helping run the inn is all she's ever known.
Are you girls still on the line?
We're not done talking yet.
Well, I've been patient long enough. You girls get off right now.
But we...
Right now, or the next call I make will be to your father.
We gotta go, Nancy.
That's all right. I'll call you later.
And I'll thank you not to listen in.
Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Farthingham. Only nosy busybodies listen in on other people's phone calls.
Yes, well, hang up and be quick about it.
Bye, Nancy.
Talk to you soon.
So I think that this game is actually a mix of all four, well, actually, the first 4 books in the original series by Carolyn Keene. Like the Lilac Inn, I think, is the 4th book.
Got it. Looks like someone recently had a key appraised.
So someone had a key appraised, and Nancy's gonna figure out who. Of course, follow every lead. Okay, so this is Josiah Crowley's old house where Richard Topham lives. So we might as well go talk to him. This is a carriage house, I think is what it's called.
Over here, Miss Drew. Find the toy mouse and give it to Yuri, would you please? Otherwise, he'll just keep meowing. He hates strangers.
Yuri is Richard Topham's cat, I think. Or maybe he used to be Josiah Crowley's cat, I can't remember. And he wants his toy, or else he keeps meowing. Creepy looking cat, I have to say.
How nice of you to drop by. And thank you for walking instead of parking in the driveway. I'm expecting a pupil. I'd hate for her to have to park on the road.
How did you know who I was?
If one is to teach others how to develop and use their paranormal gifts, it's only logical that one must possess such gifts oneself.
I hope I'm not disturbing you.
I was in the process of trying to make these spoons move by using nothing but my own psychic energy. Have you ever focused sunlight through a magnifying glass until it was a minute yet searing point of light, Miss Drew?
Yeah, I guess.
You see, that's what I do with my cerebral emanations, my thoughts. I focus them until they're a beam of pure energy which ultimately disrupts and transforms the molecular force field surrounding the target object.
Is that what you teach people in your school? How to beam their thoughts?
I take them through exercises designed to help them increase their output of phantasmic energy. If you want to sign up for an introductory session, I believe I have an opening today.
What I'd really like to do is talk about Josiah Crowley.
Oh. I'm afraid I'm busy, young lady. Far too busy to engage in idle conversation.
You're not trying to hide something, are you, Mr. Topham?
I'll be blunt, Miss Drew. I've discovered that the more time I spend with the, shall we say, intellectually unendowed, the more my cerebral pulsations seem to diminish. I'm afraid I cannot speak to you further unless and until you prove that you are worthy. That is, that your brainwaves are not unacceptably inferior and thus deleterious to mine.
My brainwaves are just fine, Mr. Topham.
What I have here is an exercise in logic. If you can discern the correct solution, then I'll know that conversing with you will do me no psychic harm. You may take it with you. Good luck and good day.
Okay, so Mr. Topham kind of called us dumb, I think. So we have to solve his little word puzzle before we can talk to him.
Oh, a miniature golf course! Swell!
And we will be playing mini golf later. Which I actually like playing the mini golf. It is kind of hard, but it can be fun. Okay, let's see. Let's go do all the errands that we've been given. We need to talk to Jim Archer, the banker.
That car I saw before is gone.
We need to deliver something for Carson. And we can ask.
Hello,
This
are you
guy
Mr. Waddell?
about the
So what
key.
if I am?
I found this receipt, and I just wondered what you could tell me about it.
Let me see that. One key, determine resale value, item 493. Oh yeah, this was for that key Jim Archer wanted me to appraise.
Jim Archer wanted you to appraise a key?
It was very ornate, had jewels all over it. Fake jewels, as it turned out. When I told him it was worthless, the cheapskate refused to pay me and told me to keep it.
Do you think I could have it?
Sure, once you pay the appraisal fee.
Which is...
$1.50.
Here you go.
Good, here's the key. Enjoy.
So Nancy spent $1.50 on, which is kind of a lot of money.
Hello,
I
I'm
think,
looking for
back
Jim
in the
Archer.
day.
Right through that door.
Oh, I didn't know we would be
Hello.
right into a
Are you Nancy
conversation
Drew?
with Jim Archer. Anyway, yeah, Nancy just paid that much money for a key that she doesn't even know what it does. But, you know, that's Nancy.
Sounds like Emily called you.
Yes, ma'am. Jim Archer. I'm founder, president, manager, and just about everything else you can name when it comes to this fine enterprise.
I hear that some businesses aren't doing so well these days.
Ever since the stock market crashed, one business after another has closed, including banks. President Hoover keeps saying that a recovery is just around the corner, but you have to wonder.
Is your bank doing okay?
I'm happy to report that we're doing just fine, thank you. Excuse me. Main Street Bank, Jim Archer speaking. No, I don't. I'm sorry, but... Yes, I know, but... All right, then just bring it by. Sorry for the interruption. How can I help you?
Do you happen to know whether the jewelry Emily inherited from her mother was insured?
Well, I know for a fact that it was not. Why?
Because someone snuck into the inn today and stole it.
Oh, no. I heard there'd been a fire in the kitchen, but when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? I told Gloria not to let that policy lapse.
Why did she let it lapse?
She felt that since Josiah Crowley would be leaving her a large sum of money when he died, or so she thought, paying to insure her jewelry just wasn't necessary.
How well did you know Josiah Crowley?
Well enough for him to name me executor of his will. An executor is the person who makes sure the terms of a will are carried out.
Did he leave you anything?
He'd given me the impression that I would be well taken care of when he passed on, too. But when I finally read his will, it all went to Topham.
Where did Josiah keep his will?
He'd hidden it in a chest of drawers in his house. It took me months to find it. When he named me executor, he said he'd tell me where it was hidden when the time was right. Whatever that meant.
How did Josiah die?
He was sitting in the public library reading when apparently his heart just decided it was time to stop.
What was he reading?
His favorite book, The Make-Up Secrets of Lon Chaney.
The will you found in Josiah's house. Is it possible that Josiah didn't really write it?
Well, the thought that it could be a forgery did cross my mind. But an expert verified that the will had been typed on Josiah's typewriter and signed in Josiah's hand.
But Richard Topham lived in Josiah's house. He had access to his typewriter, and he could have copied his signature.
As far as the law is concerned, the matter is closed, Miss Drew.
But it's possible that Josiah's real will is still out there. Are you sure he never gave you any clue as to where he'd hidden his will?
Whenever I asked him, he said he'd tell me when the time is right. Although, he got a safe deposit box here about 3 years ago.
Maybe that's where his real will is.
Topham has tried to claim its contents, but he can't find the key.
Maybe he knows the real will could be in there, only he wants to destroy it.
Now, Miss Drew, I wouldn't go jumping to any conclusions.
How well do you know Jane Willoughby? You know, Emily's guardian?
Not well at all. Met her once or twice. Seemed a little flighty.
What was Emily's mom like?
Had a good head on her shoulders. Friendly, too. Having a big slice of blueberry pie at the Lalakin was always a real treat. It'd be nice if family could carry on the tradition, but times are just too tough. If she's smart, she'll sell before the bills start piling up.
I guess I'll be going.
Goodbye now.